let them do the thing.
All right, so here's some news articles that were interesting. These guys created an AI agent, Einstein, that will log into Canvas and read the homework and do all the homework for you so you don't have to work. He says, why should you have to do boring schoolwork when you've got AI to do it all? Of course, some educators think this kind of defeats the point. But anyway, they're making it. There's also a lot of cheating services out there with answers to quizzes and everything. But this is the first one where I think the AI will just attend to lectures for you, write your papers, and do everything. So it'll be interesting to see how well it works. And a lot of people are getting very, very upset in the world of education, thinking that education is going to be pretty much turned into pointless nonsense by this sort of thing. We will see. It's a science fiction trope. You'll see it in Star Trek and everywhere else, where they have a future society with AIs running it, and the people no longer even know how they work or how to fix them or anything. They're just dependent.
There are so many plans to do exactly that, but that reminds me of a second question. How much of this is actually PR? Because from what I understand about this concept, the guy who made Einstein is essentially doing the copy-paste model of proposed model into industry, say the industry will be wiped out because of said model, then claim to investors that in the future this model will be the most profitable that you'll invest in.
Well, that's another issue. Maybe it just doesn't even work. But I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
I think
don't see why it wouldn't work.
Yeah, I think the AIs are good enough now that if you
always does a lot of things for you.
Yeah, and I think they even tested this. They had an AI student take some courses, and they passed. I don't think they got A's, but they got like C's. So I think they've already shown that AIs can take online courses for you. Yeah. But, you know, it probably, all I'm thinking is it probably depends on the structure of the course. It probably can't read all formats and all that jazz. But if it's a success, then he can improve it gradually, and, you know, it'll be an issue.
It probably just uses OpenClaw. It's just an OpenClaw fork.
Well, yeah, OpenClaw, I don't know if OpenClaw can do it yet, but it probably will be able to before long. Somebody will make that skill.
Yeah.
So the Islamic State is using AI to resurrect dead leaders so they can give speeches and inspire people on social networks, and the platforms are not moderating it. And this is the big issue these days. Elon Musk's getting investigated all over the place for his AI making revenge porn. And now they even, FBI or somebody, demanded that they hand over all the prompts that users used to create that. And so I think you'll find that the ones standing up are strange ones Kirk made that don't work, and the ones that work are the built-in ones below the monitors, the little small ones. Yeah. Anyway, so we'll see, but this is a big issue that there's not much content moderation on the social networks. I was surprised to see this. The bird flu is infecting elephant steels in the Bay Area, killing large numbers of them.
Is it now called the elephant seal flu?
No, I still call it the bird flu, but the bird flu kills lots of things. It infects deer, it infects humans, it infects cats and dogs.
What do they call it? Wait, what? Shoot. Keep explaining.
Yeah, it infects all sorts of things, but mostly it kills birds. That's the main thing it does, but it passes through other animals too, and apparently kills them also. Anyway, right. And BART is in big financial trouble. I remember hearing about this during the pandemic. Almost nobody rode BART, so they didn't have any money, and apparently they still haven't got enough people riding it, which is strange because the freeways are all jammed up. I would think BART would be jammed up too, although I haven't checked. But they have an incredible deficit. 750 million or something, 376 million annual. So they're talking about closing 15 stations of BART, which would pretty much make it useless, even more useless than it is. I tried to look into what it would take for me to go to take public transit to San Jose State, and it will take 2.5 hours, or be a 45-minute drive. And as far as I know, it's that way for almost everybody around here. Our public transit system is essentially useless. It's too bad. In Europe, you go to Paris or something, they have a tube that actually works. You don't need a car. But by design, the automobile industry deliberately killed all useful public transit in America to make sure everybody had to have a car, and we're still in that condition. Yeah?
Yeah, everything you just said, I was about to mention.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, all right, so here's a job opportunity. Lapsus Hunters, the ransomware group, it has a campaign to recruit women. So you can work for them. They want your voice phishing campaign, of course, thinking, I guess, that female voices are more likely to trick people into doing stupid things. And by the way, this is true of the social engineering village at DEF CON too. Women almost always win. Women are the most effective at social engineering, and they're also the most effective at resisting social engineering. When you call some company and try to trick them into doing a stupid thing, if you get a woman on the phone, you're much less likely to succeed. And so it's a thing to be aware of. And so New York is suing Valve, saying it's illegal gambling. They have these loot boxes where you win something inside the game, but you can sell it for real money. And some of them are worth a considerable amount of real money.
Skins.
What's that?
Knife skins.
Skins, apparently.
Knife skins. So there's these things called knife skins.
Knife
and
skins?
They're really expensive.
Yeah.
They're like $300 for it's basically what,
Yeah.
it's basically like,
It's gambling, basically.
it's gambling, but
Yeah, well,
it's like an NFT. I like to
yeah.
think
Yeah.
of it as an NFT.
But that's the issue. I mean, like all these games have things you can sell. Like people used to make high magic items in World of Warcraft and sell them. That's why I don't understand why this is gambling and every other game isn't gambling.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's because it's literally gambling. Because you buy keys and you open loot boxes, and those loot boxes you can sell in a marketplace. And you can sell the marketplace money for real money.
it's actually
Yeah.
gambling, but the reason why, you can argue anywhere between, lawmakers are slow to, the people who are actually in charge of those gambling centers are in contact with lawmakers more often.
Yeah, that's why I wonder. Anyway, this is so they're suing them on the grounds they violate New York law by being unauthorized gambling. So Anthropic, here's a couple articles about the thing that you asked about right at the beginning here, Andrew. So Anthropic, the U.S. military is building Anthropic into their devices, and then Anthropic said, you know, we have rules. You can't use our device to spy on American citizens, and you can't use our device to make an autonomous killing machine without a human in loop. And Pete Hegseth said, what the hell? We can do anything we want with it. Shut up. We want to build those things. And Anthropic said, you can't use our AI for those things. And he said, if you don't let me use AI for those things, we will not only cancel our government contract, but we will ban you from all government contracts by saying that you can't be used on anything that sells to the military, which would basically put your company out of business. Yeah.
It gets worse. One of the first things the AI models actually suggest is total nuclear annihilation.
Total nuclear annihilation, you say?
Yes, when given the option, when the AI was fed data of the options that it could take tactically and militarily speaking to achieve victory, the first option in almost every AI model was nuclear annihilation.
Well, yeah, I don't know if anybody's seriously proposing giving AI power over nukes autonomously, but weapons, they didn't say nukes. Hopefully less lethal weapons than that. But anyway, so this is the issue. And so here's various perspectives on it. CNN points out something. They say every company, when you grow, reaches a point when they have to give up on those principles. Like Google started out with don't be evil, but after a while they realized that there is no distinguishing good from evil for a corporation, and they removed that. And they say Anthropic has also had to moderate their highly moral position as they grow. So did OpenAI. OpenAI was going to be very careful to make the safest, most moral AI, but then they rapidly discovered we need a lot of money, so let's just do whatever brings in more money. Like they weren't going to, they said we'll never put ads in the program, in the product, so they're putting ads in the product. They said we'll never make porn, now they're going to make porn. They'll do anything for money. You know, he said because you need such these huge data centers, and you just need an endless flood of huge amounts of money to pay for them. So this is what all corporations find. If you're a corporation, you have an obligation to keep growing and grow like 15% a year and keep making more and more and more money, and eventually you have to abandon all the principles that prevented it. Like Google didn't want to expand to China because they would have to censor the search results, but they decided to do it because they wanted the money. Yeah.
Didn't Google do exactly that in China, figure out how to take advantage of SEO and their search engine?
An FTO?
SEO, search engine optimization.
Well, yes, I don't know about taking advantage of SEO. SEO is their enemy, but what they did was they bought DoubleClick and started spying on everybody. And I think that's around the time when they dropped that don't be evil thing. They said, well, you know, and by the way, they're not wrong. If you're a corporation, people invest their money in you and expect to get a return. So doing something evil that brings out more money is actually good for the investors. So you face the problem like all powerful agencies. There is no simple thing like good or evil. Every decision you make helps some people and hurts other people. So you can't just say what you're going to do.
So Palantir model.
Well, Palantir, I think, is just a straight-up military contractor from the start, and they've been selling right from the beginning pervasive surveillance of everyone. That's why it has that name. And of course, I'm sure they believe that's good. If you had pervasive surveillance of everyone, you could nip all terrorist cells and all crimes in the bud at the expense of invading everybody's privacy, and a lot of law enforcement agencies would like to do that. There is an argument for that. And like I say, in Britain, they've interviewed people, and most of them say it's perfectly fine if the government reads my email to catch terrorists, because there's a lot of terrorism in Britain. And so if somebody is blowing up something every week with a bomb, probably everyone would take that attitude here. Let them invade everybody's privacy just to stamp out these criminals, like Giuliani. Giuliani did all sorts of illegal things in New York City when he was the mayor to stop the street crime, and they loved him for it. He had a stop and frisk policy where it was completely racial profiling, where they would stop any car that contained people of races he didn't like and frisk them and try to find them and arrest them, and it cut down on the street crime from the gangs, and the people in New York City were perfectly happy with that decision at the time, to invade our civil liberties in order to cut down on crime. Anyway, so, all right, that's enough news, I think. Let me stop this one.